Okay, this hangout is now on the air live. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's Monday morning, and it's time to get up and get moving. This is your Monday Momentum hangout with Sarah Coolidge. I want to just welcome you, and then we'll dive right in because this is a very quick little hangout that we do every Monday to get you up and running for the week. This hangout is put out by me, and every other Monday, it's my partner, Julia Flynn Werre. And what we are doing, yeah, Julia's there, we'll introduce you in a minute. What we are doing is regular hangouts to offer support to CEO Space graduates and introduce those of you that may be interested in learning more about CEO Space. But we are a larger organization. We want to offer weekly support to everyone that's graduated from our organization so that we can all continue to move forward in our projects and in our businesses. And the idea is getting yourself started on Monday, up and running and moving, can set your whole week up for success. Many of us work from home. Many of us are solopreneurs. We struggle with things like, how do I get myself moving when there's no boss that's going to notice if I'm late? How do I keep myself from doing the laundry when I really should be making calls? When we work from home, sometimes we struggle with stuff like that. We also can get lonely. We also can feel as though we're the only person that really gets what it is we're trying to do. And so this call is designed to give you ideas, give you some new skills, give you a push. So what I want to show you now, if you can see it, I hope, is my crude little drawing, and I can't see it, so I don't, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is what we are. We're right here. It's Monday morning. We're on the top of a hill. And if you pretend that you're a car and someone pushes you just a little bit, you're going to get going vroom, really fast one way or maybe vroom the other way. This is momentum. This is what I'm talking about. And if you get your momentum going the wrong way because you got out of bed maybe a little bit late and then you read a bunch of crappy stuff about the news and then maybe you opened some emails that distracted you and all of a sudden you're headed off into some weird direction and your whole day goes differently than you had hoped. Start your day off right with some good ideas, some good information, some good input. That momentum, woo, gets you going to the happiness and the pot of gold. So this is what we're trying to root for. This is who knows what. Getting your momentum going the right way can really make a difference. So that's the whole idea here. I'm going to have better drawings as we get going better. So without any more, I would like to spend a few minutes introducing a couple people that are here. If you are interested in joining this hangout live so that you can ask questions, which means your little head would appear in one of these boxes down here, and you would be able to ask questions, you can do that now by going to CEO Space West. That's my website, CEO Space West, and you may or may not be able to see it in my lower third. You're supposed to be able to, but it's not there, which is interesting. But I will fix that in a minute. Technological difficulties. You can go to CEO Space West and click the button that says Join the Hangout Live. You can also mess around with various other Google profiles trying to find it, but right now we think that that's the best way to get in. CEOSpaceWest.com, and then if you go to live events, you'll be able to click the link that says Go to the Hangout Live. So I'm going to introduce my partner Julia, and in a minute I will introduce Ed. Julia Flynn Werre is obviously another CEO Space grad and fellow entrepreneur, and she helps out every Monday. She's the technological genius balance to my whatever I am. The human side. No, I don't want to say that because that implies somehow that Julia is not human. This girl is a whiz when it comes to SEO and marketing and making your web presence fabulous, and she knows it all. So, Julia, why don't you say a few words?
Wonderful. Well, good morning. I'm Julia Flynn Werre, and if you want to see Sarah and me and Ed talking this morning, you can go to a variety of places. CEOSpaceWest.com/live, look for the big orange button, or look for Sarah's profile on Google+, or you can go to her Facebook page or her High Sierra collaborative page. I have been busy while she's been talking, posting the
Woo.
link all over the place. So that's where we would like you to go and join us this morning. Every Monday, Sarah and I get together and talk about how to stay motivated and moving forward. Not just motivated, but taking action to move forward every single week. Every single week, we're going to go ahead and talk to you about what we do to stay in momentum moving forward, whether it's sales or marketing, online tools, offline tools, in person. Our whole goal is to make money. My tagline is "Make some money, honey." So when you see that, you can think of Julia Flynn Werre. My website is wordofmouthwired.com if you'd like to go there and see anything. And I'm going to turn it back over to Sarah.
Thanks, Julia. You know, Ed is here again. He disappeared for a minute, so we know there's some technological difficulties this morning, and he's saying that he's lost sound. So I'm not certain if we can help him with that or not. Can you hear us, Ed? Can you shake your head up and down if you can hear us? You're looking pretty frozen, so I'm wondering if all I'm looking at is your photo. What we're going to do then is encourage, oops, he's working on it. He's sending me a text to say he's working on it. So this is how it is. And I want to let you all know, as you begin to get in here, that we also have a chat box. So if you when you get into the Hangout, up to your left, if you float over there with your mouse, you'll find a blue box with some white lines. That's the chat box. You can click on it, and if you're for some reason not being able to hear us or we're not being able to hear you, you will also be able to write in there. And so those of you who are watching, you'll see that Ed is there, but he's having trouble talking, and that's a bummer because we're going to talk about him then, and he won't be able to defend himself at all.
Poor Ed. Poor Ed.
Yeah. And, you know, this is one of the things when it comes to Hangouts and you know, the life of an entrepreneur. You think you know what you're doing, you think you got it all set up, and then boom, you go off on a little tangent for a while. And you have to be able to deal with those kinds of uncertainties and those kinds of issues. We do have two different things going on there. Sometimes we get distracted by other things, which is really not always so great. But sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen next. You have all your best plans, and then, you know, an act of nature or an act of another human being, an act of technology, as we're dealing with right now, and you go off on another course. As our friend Dr. David Gruder, who is one of our teachers at CEO Space, would call this wabi-sabi. It's, you know, you can't plan for it, so what are you going to do then? So we always have this issue. If this is going to happen, then we're going to just have to talk without Ed. And the poor guy, because he's fabulous, let me tell you, Ed Hayward is another club president with CEO Space, but that's just a teeny bit of what he can do. He's also a technological gem. If you want to know about how to maneuver yourself through LinkedIn, if you want to learn about how to reach contacts that might be useful to you through LinkedIn, that's Ed Hayward. And I can see that he's live now. I don't know if he can...
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear him. Yay.
Okay.
So I am going to introduce him instantly because who knows how long we'll get to hang on to him for. Ed Hayward, he's going to talk to us a little bit today about the #1 secret that your boss doesn't want you to know, which is something to do with a word that starts with C. So Ed Hayward, go talk for a minute. Tell us, what is that word that begins with C that I'm hinting at?
Okay, I'm going to let me talk about a couple of things before I tell you the C word. But let me quickly introduce myself before we start. And sorry, I got lost. Hopefully, I'm not going to get lost again. I don't know what happened. But I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I have 2 businesses that I'm running. And I've been a member of CEO Space since 2004, and am really excited to be here today to talk to you about some things that I'm very passionate about. And if you would like, this will help me later in just a few minutes. If you all wanted to go into the chat box and just put in there what your business is, that would help me. I know some people that are on the I know Brian Terry is driving in his car, and I don't want him to pull over and text, but I know what your business is anyway, Brian, so don't worry about that. But if you can, if you're free and you want to type in the chat box what your business is. One of the things I like to talk about is helping people get focused on their business on the right purposes. And a lot of times entrepreneurs will work for years on a business without really ever identifying what the purpose is of that business and why they're doing it. And businesses have two purposes. And I want to kind of create this context. This is not the gospel truth. This is really just my opinion and the way I do things. But I think it'll be useful. And my objective as we're talking is to give you some things. Usually when I do a presentation, I give you some things to do. Today I'm going to give you some things to think about, and I think keeping these things in your mind should help you with all of the things that you do, help you to focus on your business and find some new ways to be more effective. But generally a business has two purposes, and one of the purposes is to make money, and we usually focus on that. But there's another purpose that's just as important, and that is every business that you have creates some kind of benefit for the world. It creates a product or a service that's going to make the world a better place. And those two things have to be in balance. If they're not in balance, then you're going to find that your business doesn't work well, and sometimes it'll just outright fail. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. And I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by the purpose and benefit. And I really want you to think about your own business. I'm going to use Brian's business since I know he's driving and can't text or chat. But Brian has a business where he is bringing investment opportunities to people that don't have the money to get involved in a really big investment, and it's real estate. And so he has a business where he makes it really easy for someone to, instead of putting money into a CD or something, they go ahead and put their money in real estate, combining with a bunch of other people, and this allows them to grow their money in the real estate market without having to be a big spender. So you think about what are the benefits of this business, okay? And I want you to think about this. I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, first of all, it benefits the person that's investing because they have money and now they're going to grow their money instead of leaving it in the bank. And so how's that going to benefit them? Well, if they have that investment, it may be that in the future they're going to be able to help their kids get a better education. And if their kids get a better education, then their kids are going to be able to take care of themselves as they grow up and have their family, and that education is going to benefit not just them, but it's going to impact the entire family. Also, the person that is saving money, it's going to help them for retirement, not just with their kids' education, so they're going to be able to retire better. And when they retire, maybe they'll want to get involved in some community service like a lot of retired people do. And so it's going to benefit them in that way. And I can go on and talk about all of the benefits that Brian is bringing to the world because he's doing his business helping people invest in real estate. And other people, for example, I have an executive search firm that I've had for about 14 years now. So I think about that business, and occasionally I'll sit there and I'll focus on the good things, the benefits that I'm bringing with that business. So I help people to upgrade their jobs. Maybe they're in a job that they're not happy with. It brings, you know, a higher level of quality to their life to have a job. Plus, they'll make more money. They'll be able to do the things I was talking about with Brian. Plus, there's a company out there that's looking for a good employee because they're wanting to bring their products to the world, and they may need an employee to help them do that. I help them find that employee. Every business that we're involved with has a product and service, and a lot of times we don't think about that. If we're an architect, we think, well, we build buildings, but that's not all we do. We may build, and we'll think about the benefit we bring to our market, but the benefit actually goes much further than that. So an architect builds a building. It's a beautiful building. Maybe it's a library or something. And although the customer was the city they built the library for, everyone that comes into that building is going to benefit from that. Not only that, people that drive past that might say, oh, what a beautiful library. The benefit that they bring to the world is immense, and we need to think about that and help and allow ourselves to focus on that and take it as far as we can, all of the benefits that we get. Now here's where money comes into play. There are a lot of people that only focus on the benefit of their business, and if that's all they focus on, then they find that they don't make enough money, and pretty soon they cannot benefit the world. A business that focuses only on the benefits but doesn't find a way to make money is not really a business. It's philanthropy, and if you have enough money, that's great. You can do that. Most of us don't. So we have to monetize our business and make money. That's the second purpose. So those are the two purposes of any business: to benefit the world by bringing a product and a service to the world that helps people, and to make money so that we can continue doing that. If you focus on those two things, thank you, Sarah. If you focus on those two things,
just a little. Remember the benefit of your business is what he's saying. Thank you.
So thanks. That's really a good idea. That's kind of an old kind of slideshow PowerPoint. So, but focusing on the benefit is something that we don't often do. A lot of times we're just thinking about the money that we make because we're so frantic trying to get our company monetized. It's a challenge for all entrepreneurs to do. But we need to focus on both. When we focus on both, it will change our way of thinking about our business. And really what I'm talking about here when we talk about focusing on the benefit, this should be your mission statement. If you don't have a mission statement for your business, this is it. Your mission statement is what kind of benefit you're bringing to the world. And no one has a mission statement that says this company is going to make a lot of money. They intend to do that, but that's not what they do and say in their mission statement. And we need to make a lot of money, and the more money we make, the more benefit we can bring to the world. And so it's not greedy for you to work hard finding new revenue streams in your business to free you up so that you can bring that benefit to the world. Once you've got this way of thinking, you will start changing the way you interact with other businesses, and this is really key. I learned this concept, and the C word we're talking about is cooperation, and yeah, that's the secret you've all been waiting for. That's the secret sauce. When I joined about 10 years ago now, a little over 10 years ago, I had my recruiting company. I'd been up and running for a couple of years, and things were going pretty good. And I had come out of the corporate world, which was very competitive, and I actually enjoyed competition. At least I thought I did. It was almost like a contact sport. One of the things I loved was going into negotiation, and my feeling for going into a negotiation, my objective was I was going to wrestle control of the outcome of the negotiation, and then I was going to be fair to everyone, and we call this a win-win. At least that's what I considered a win-win. Saying win-win indicates that someplace someone is losing. Win-win is not a cooperative concept; it's a competitive concept, and there's a better way. And when I first heard about cooperation through my friends at CEO Space, I thought it was a gimmick. I didn't think anyone would really do business that way, because I was used to having everyone in the room, as we were sitting down to work out a deal, would be thinking, okay, what's in it for me? And I want as much of that as I can. And we were focused on money, not on benefits. And that's the way I had been working for decades. And I enjoyed it, and I thought that's the way business should be done. I thought that was correct. I thought as long as I was competitive in a fair way that I was doing pretty good. So when I heard about cooperation, I thought, well, this is not real. This is a gimmick. You know, it's and I didn't really believe it at all. And I met, you know, I went to some local events, and I'm a member of CEO Space. Some of the rest of you may be members of other organizations, and so you may be able to relate to some of these things even if you're not a CEO Space member. But I went to some other events, and one of the things I noticed is there were some events I went to that were non-CEO Space events where it was very competitive, and everyone really in the room, they had an agenda, and they were trying to get what they needed next for their business, which at the time I had no problem with because that's the way I was. Then I would go to these cooperative events, and instead, at CEO Space, everyone kept coming up and asking me, so what do you do and what do you need next? And I at first figured that they said, well, what do you do and what do you need next? And that they were asking me just to be polite. What they really wanted to tell me was what they were doing and what they need next. But they would never tell me that. At least a lot of them wouldn't. And so they would say, what are you doing? What are you doing? What do you need next? And so I would tell them about my recruiting business and what I needed next. And they would try and help me, and then they would walk off. And I would say, well, that's really weird. And so I really started paying attention, and I went ahead and got a membership, and I went to my first forum. Let me tell you an experience I had that was life-changing. Every now and then you have experiences that you remember for the rest of your life because of the impact they make on you. And so I want to share this with you because I think this is the epitome of cooperation and the way it should work. I went to my first forum, my CEO Space conference, and I went for the classes. The classes were great. I was there for what's in it for me. And so I went to the classes, and I learned a lot. And at the end of the day, I was ready to go up to my room and watch Fox News, which is what I did when I was on a business trip. I don't drink, so there was nothing else for me to do. So I thought this was just like a regular conference, and I started going up there. And someone said to me, "No, that's not what we do here." And they said, "Come on down to the lobby and see what's going on." And I thought, okay. And so I went down there, and everyone had organized themselves into circles. So they were sitting in little circles of like 8 chairs or 10 chairs. And so I got in one of the circles to see what's going on. I'm not very shy. So I just sat down and started listening, and they were going around the circle and asking each person, "So what are you doing and what do you need?" And the person would tell them, and then all of them would be trying to help this person. And I thought, well, that's really interesting, and this was more of what I'd seen that I didn't quite understand, all this cooperation. And I was analyzing things because I was actually still kind of suspicious, even though I was already a member. I was kind of suspicious as to what was really going on here. And I noticed in the circle there were some people that clearly had a lot of business experience, and there were others that didn't. And the ones that had a lot of experience were the ones that were trying to do the most help. And some of these were CEOs of mature, successful companies. And finally, we got around to a little lady that reminded me of my mom. And they said, "So what are you doing and what do you need?" And she pulled out of a paper sack or a bag of some sort, she pulled out a handicraft, and she started talking about it. And I thought, oh, great. This is not a business. You know, she doesn't have a business plan. She has no idea. She doesn't even know who her market is. She's just got a handicraft. But I was a little bit worried because she reminded me of my mom, and I didn't want people to be mean to her. And so I kind of was stepped forward a little bit, and I was kind of watching to see what these people were going to say. And they started asking her questions. You know, have you monetized this? Do you know what your price point is going to be? Do you know who your market is going to be? They started asking her questions. And she said, "No, I've never done anything like this before." And they started coaching her. And some of the entrepreneurs that had the most experience were really giving her valuable advice. And I sat back and I watched this, and it hit me, why are they doing this? This was the thing that really opened my eyes, and this was life-changing for me because I thought, she does not have any experience to help them. She has no business contacts for them. She has no skill set that she could use to try and help them in some way. She has absolutely nothing to give back to them, and yet all of these people are helping her. And I tell you, that was a turning point in my life when I realized, wait a second, there is really something to this cooperation. It really does work. And I started looking at the way I do business, and I changed it. And this is one of the things. I went to CEO Space. I joined that because I wanted to get the some of the international exposure and the education and training they've got. But I came away with something completely different, and that's I came away with a new understanding of doing business at a higher level in a new way, and that is in cooperation. Now, let me tie this back to what I first started talking about. I tried figuring out why it is that cooperation works and why it is that people do it, and this is the difference. The people that are involved in CEO Space or any other kind of cooperative business organization are focusing on the benefits and not just on the money. And that's what makes the difference. And if you can change the way you think and start focusing on, first of all, on the benefits of your own business, which will help your business to go better. But then if you start focusing on the benefits of the other businesses that you interact with, cooperation is a natural outcome of that. Because when you understand that everyone in the room has a business that's going to benefit your world, suddenly it makes sense for you to try and help them without asking what's in it for me. That is the essence of cooperation.
Thank you so much. Boy, I didn't have to ask a single question. I would like to just kind of sum that up for a minute, if I could, because I know that, you know, in the beginning you were saying that we have to remember the benefits. When we remember the benefits of what we're doing, then we can see that it's important for us to keep doing it. And when we get focused too much on just trying to make money, then we're going to get lost. After we remember the benefits, then we try to monetize it. So here is my card. I can't see it. There we go. Then we want to monetize. And I love that. And you know, when you were talking about the story with the woman at CEO Space, and you said, and this was the old Ed, I get that, you know, she doesn't have anything to give back. Well, you know, of course she has something to give back. And that's been all of our experience. I know that is when we get to meet people, we may not be able to see instantly what it is that they have to give back when we're holding a mindset of, you know, this is the only thing I want is somebody that's going to buy my product or somebody that's going to help me move forward. Then we can't see it. But when we hold the idea that, well, of course she has something, everybody has something, there's some value here, and I will give until I find out what it is that I'm supposed to receive. Sometimes what we're supposed to be receiving is just that message, just that lesson. She had something, you know she did. It's just that she didn't have what perhaps the old Ed had in mind as something that would be valuable to her, to you, or to business, whatever that is. Because truly, it's all coming down to human beings relating to each other and helping each other out. And there's no way that we would be having this hangout right now if it wasn't for cooperation, because the technological difficulties that we had just this morning alone, it never would have flown. I never would have been able to have this conversation with you that other people can now listen to, can watch a recording of, or anything else if it wasn't for Julia helping me when things were going screwy this morning. And over the last 5 years, between the relationships that I've made, working cooperatively with other businesses, how it's grown me, and the benefits that I can offer people, it's all right there. It's all around cooperation. So that was a fabulous little story that I have never heard before. I really appreciate it. You know, we're almost out of time. Woo, that's it. It's quick on Monday. So I want you all to remember Ed Hayward. Unfortunately, because he got kicked out of the system, his lower third is not there right now. And that means you're like, who's this wisdom-filled man? Who is he? I want to know. I want to talk to him more. His name is Ed Hayward. And we can put it in the chat box in case you can at least, if you're wondering how to spell it, it's nothing complicated. I can't even do it. There we go. There we go. So Julia just wrote it. Ed, do you have a website, an email address, anything you would like to share with people that may want to follow up with you? Tell us also, where do you live in case somebody lives next door and wants to shake your hand?
Yep, I live in Utah, and I'm going to type my email address in right now. So anybody that wants to email me can. But I live in Utah, and I love cooperation, and I love helping other people. And if there's anything I can do to help anyone that's on the call, please let me know.
Great. Thank you so much, Ed. It's just been fabulous listening to you today. And so the big word of the day is cooperation. That means think about your business today in terms of how can I help someone else? How can I help them make their benefit bigger and make my own benefit bigger in the process? Who can I include in this? Who can I partner with? On a small way, maybe, if you're only being able to do small things right now because you're on your own, it's just you. But when you hook up with other people, you're going to be able to make things bigger and better, and it feels good. And it's, you know, that's why we're here, to feel good. Julia, I want to thank you for helping me out today. You want to say any last words?
Yes, I do. I cannot wait to implement what Ed has been talking about with cooperation in my own life, and I thank you so much for acknowledging our cooperation every single week. Want to remind everybody once again that we start at 10. We'll be starting again next Monday. We may have a special guest. We're not sure yet. We've put out the word to a few people. I'd also like to personally invite everyone who joins us each week that if you would like to be the guest speaker one of these weeks, let us know, because we're so excited to hear what you have to share and offer. And you can check our websites every single week to find out where we're going to be located. Sarah's website, ceospacewest.com/live, will have each week's new live event. And you can check my website as well, wordofmouthwired.com, for the link. And I want to thank Sarah so much for being a great participant, but mostly I want to thank Ed Hayward. Thank you so much for taking time this week, Ed. It was just beautiful to hear that story and to know how wonderful your experience was. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. So I just want to throw out there, Julia said 10 o'clock. That's if you're on the East Coast.
Oh, right.
If you're out here on the West Coast, it's 7 a.m. And, you know, we get up early because we're really working hard out here.
Yeah, we're starting a little later, by the way. We have beautiful weather today. If you're anywhere near the beach, today is the day to go to the beach on the East Coast. Sorry about that,
Well,
Sarah.
that's all right. We got the whole country covered, and that's part of the plan. So go out there, have a fabulous week. We will see you next Monday, either at 7 or at 10 or whatever in between, and who knows what time it is in Australia, and when they hop on, they can tell us. But just remember, you get it out, you get your day started right, get your meeting started right, get your week started right, in the direction that you want to be going, and build that momentum the way you want to go. You got to take control of it. If you don't, it's going to go every which way. And part of that is getting here with us every Monday to put you off to a good start. So thank you so much for joining. We are now going off the air. We'll see you next Monday. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.